Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I am thrilled to have you with us. I am Patrycja Leszek-Królikowska. I am Director of UX Lab in Ailleron, and in my free time, I love mountains and trying new sports every day. Today, I will be the host for this session, and today, with my great guest, we are diving into extremely important topic: what's stopping banks from being fully inclusive? And this subject is increasingly relevant in finance industry, but not only in this industry. We are so excited to have such fantastic group of attendees. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started and before I introduce my super guest, a few housekeeping items. Please feel free to ask questions through the session using chat. And we will address this question during Q&A segment at the end of our webinar. And what's more, stay with us till the end because we have one special question for you. And for the fastest answer, we will have small gift. As I mentioned, we got amazing lineup of speakers today, including Daniel de la Fuente, Service Design Lead from George Labs and co-organizer of UX George Conf. Hi, Daniel. Please, please invite yourself.
Yeah. Hi, Patricia. Hi, everyone. I'm super happy to be here. Really, it's an honor. I think we should all be talking about accessibility. It's such a crucial topic. So I'm happy to be part of this really great initiative. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Daniel. And Piotr Źrółka, CEO, Accessibility Consultant and Strategist from Kinaole. Piotr?
Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, guys. I'm happy that I'm joining together with fantastic guys to talk a little bit about accessibility because time is ticking. So let's see what we can adjust today and help you to change the perspective to be more inclusive and accessible.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And at the beginning, this is not our first meeting because we previously met in Krakow where we had insightful discussion about the challenges associated with accessibility, as Daniel and Piotr mentioned, and inclusive design. And generally, I would like to share at the beginning the results of our interesting discussion. 6 months ago, we asked our great attendees on Ailleron Innovation Forum, what is currently the biggest issue in creating accessible and inclusive solution in banking? And generally 6 months ago, you mentioned that time and current priorities were the main issue, what's struggling you. And we are interested right now at the beginning of our conversation and discussion, because we would like to ask you also about something. What is currently the biggest issue in creating accessible and inclusive solution in banking? So right now you see the short survey. Please just answer how, from your perspective at this moment, at today, 18th of March, how it looks like. So, okay, so let's see the results. I would like to right now finish our survey and share with you. Okay, you can probably see results. So today, I think it's the same. Time and current priorities is still the main issue, what's struggling you. And what's more, unclear law, it is 16 votes, okay? But definitely time and current priorities are your main concerns. Okay, so thank you for this voting. So this is practically the same like 6 months ago. So I would like to ask our great speakers, Piotr and Daniel, how to address this issue in the best possible way. And because we've got, I would like to show you 100 and today still this magic date. The question is for Piotr, Daniel, what we need to do, how to prepare, how to give us clear steps, what should we do before this magic date when European Accessibility Act will come into effect, what we need to do.
Okay, so that is a very good question. lot days, 102 days, so we can do still a lot. So maybe before we go further, so maybe a little bit about what is the European Accessibility Act. So European Accessibility Act mandates that all relevant products and services with the European Union, yes, we belong to the European Union, must comply the accessibility requirements by June 28, 2025. So this is something that we still waiting to be done. And what we can do, so with this limited time frame, is crucial to assess your current accessibility status. So I would say you need to know what is your starting point. Because if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, that might be a little bit challenging for the entire team. So I would advise, perhaps further in this session, we will talk a little bit about the testing tools. But you need to understand the current accessibility status and define a strategy how you want to address the potential issues. The question is always, can I do this by myself or should I hire the agency? I would say you can still do this by your own. There's a plenty of the good materials that you can even go on the Ailleron page and you can find some accessibility tips and tricks, how to verify the accessibility. Of course, accessibility requires sometimes the manual, but there is a bunch of the different automated tools that might help you to identify the potential accessibility issues. Because I would say we never achieve 100% of the accessibility, because what the accessibility is also mean that you need to meet the WCAG 2.1. Of course, on the market, there's a WCAG 2.2, but based on the European Accessibility Act, we should follow the WCAG 2.1. This is the first aspect. Of course, if you have a little bit longer perspective, you can still apply a few additional success criteria from the WCAG to fulfill a little bit better. Because what accessibility means for the people, it means that your digital product, your banking system, your PDF, your documents are able to be used by all of us. Beside if you're the disabled person or the people with the older people, because still there's not only about the people with disability, there's building the solution for everyone. So first of all, I would advise, try to judge where are you with the accessibility. So there is a first ultimate perspective. Perhaps Daniel, you can talk a little bit about what is your opinion about it?
Yeah, I mean, we will go more into detail about this point that Piotr was mentioning about understanding where you are, right? But just for the intro, I would like to say that at the core of this conversation is perhaps, I mean, we know that accessibility is somehow a human right. Everybody should be able to access specific services, and I think in the specific case of financial services like banks, it is super important that we have the doors open, that everybody should feel welcome without experiencing any type of barrier. Of course, when we talk about disabilities, I think all of us, from depending the severity, I'm, for example, wearing glasses, and without my glasses, I cannot read properly, right? So I'm having difficulty reading certain things. So I think all of us, we experience a certain degree of a disability. And I think with that said, in terms of financial services, it's very important to remove all the barriers Because at the end of the day, a person with a disability, if we are able to remove the barriers, they can be entrepreneurs, they can be taxpayers, they can be a regular customer, right? So I think for us working in the financial industry, it's an incredible opportunity also to be smart and to target a broader audience. So we are doing great. So it's a good stuff that we are doing by focusing on accessibility, but it's also good for business.
Exactly. It is good for business, as you mentioned. And what is important, what Piotr mentioned about the identifying on which step actually we are. And actually at this moment, we also would like to ask you, before jump to the roadmap, how to create and work with roadmap of accessibility task and this strategy. We would like to ask you another important question. At this moment, where are you as your organization? Because in accordance with the World Wide Web Consortium, we've got 4 levels of maturity: inactive, launch, integrate, optimize. So we would like to ask you the same like in the first question. Please vote where your organization is at this moment from your point of view. So let's see where you are. Okay, so as you can see, the 19 votes we got on launch segment. So it means that you got recognized need organization-wide, planning was initiated, but activities were not well organized. So you are in the middle of the trying to find the priorities and check the strategy. Okay, thank you so much for this voting. Okay, I'm back to presentation, and we would like to what you Daniel mentioned at the beginning in details. We would like to give the answer for our attendees how to create a roadmap and manage this project effectively. What we need to take into the consideration in creating such roadmap. So if you can specify clear tips to our audience.
Absolutely. So definitely the first thing we need to recognize is where are we, right? So we need to do a proper assessment to understand what is our position, what type of situation we are facing. Is it just technological? Is it a mindset and cultural thing? Is it because we are still lacking the buy-in from the stakeholders? Is it because people don't know what exactly accessibility is? So we need to understand where are we. Then once we have a clear picture, we need to move into the planning and strategy. And here is, of course, super necessary to have the leadership involved, allocating resources, really setting up the vision, because this is for sure not a one-time thing. This is something ongoing that once you started, you will never finish. It's always a cycle. And then, of course, you go into the implementation part. Here you need a team.
And Daniel, I would say, I really love to say that accessibility is like the garden. It's never finished. So you need to make a plan, how you seed the plants, how you take care about the plants, because sometimes there is a sickness and you need to maybe do something to make this garden a beautiful that you want to spend. And I really like what you said. You need to define the leadership. Without the right team in your bank or your institution, there will be nobody who will take care about accessibility. And normally it might be a person from UX team, it might be a combined role from the UX, QA, and dev to have a cross team perspective for building accessibility. This team not necessarily need to be a champion in accessibility. They will be champion for like time being, but they need to be as somebody who take care about that accessibility and manage that either internally or externally.
Yes, absolutely. I think we can call this a task force. So you need to define roles, and these clear roles, you need to support them, right? So the leadership, they need to invest money, time. So they have to invest in their training, setting up the right people, the right tools. And as we can see here on this more into detail accessibility roadmap, so first we started evaluating the current state. So we identify any gaps, what's missing. Then we need to raise awareness, also internally. From your company, you need to understand, okay, is everybody on board? Does everybody knows what exactly is accessibility? Who are these vulnerable groups? And for that, we really need to share real stories. We need to expose our colleagues, ourselves, to stories from real people facing real challenges. So this is not an imaginary problem, it's very real. And the more you get in contact with people who are suffering from these disabilities, of course, the better, right? And this will create some kind of ripple effect, because once you start investing time on this and making the whole organization aware of this initiative, it will reach all the corners in the organization. And it will not be look like something optional, but it's like a clear directive from the inside out. And once you have this, you need to set goals. You need to define, like Peter was mentioning, for now you have to meet the WCAG 2.1 standard, that I think it's like, you just said that around 7 years old, right? And there is a 2.2, right? So there is an incredible opportunity to go for the next level and not just focus on the 2.1. Then you have to develop policies, meaning you have to invest in your culture as an organization.
Yes, and Daniel, I really love that what you're saying, and perhaps you don't need to implement everything from the WCAG 2.1, because the European Act, it will be exist tomorrow, 1 year later, etc. You need to define the goals as you understand what is the current issue. We can define the short-term strategy which mitigate a potential risk that the people cannot use your services, because still the WCAG, it's not doing something new, because the WCAG in essential exists like more than 25 years now. Because the law, when there is a European Accessibility Act, everything, I can receive the fine. So maybe let's start to think about it, because the accessibility is also like changing the market share and also address more flexibility for the people who really want to use those services. So set the goals. You can always iterate those goals. For example, you can, this month, let's focus on the non-text content. So let's define the strategy, how we define the alternative text for the icons, pictures, or maybe we should hide them, because there is a great question about the charts. Usually the charts are complex. So the question is, do you really want to describe them? Or there is an alternative perspective. You hide this content because you're not able to make the alternative text that works for everyone. So WCAG doesn't define that you should make an alternative text for everything. You, as the business owner, you define the rules, how you mitigate the risk, and how you meet the requirements that are very important from the accessibility point of view.
And I think Patricia, also from experience, right?
Yes, so generally, I would like to add that generally it is the communication of what you mentioned, this role, this group related to the accessibility. So if you, for example, cooperate with customer as a UX designers, as developers, we are a team and we decide together how to prioritize it. What is the most important thing? And generally, this is the communication. And we need to remember that we need to set these goals together, of course, with the best practices, but the best knowledge. But this is the communication. It's crucial as always. What you mentioned, that the groups of different competencies from UX, dev, business, marketing, it is important to be all together in that.
And yeah, when you are working in an agile environment with development teams, more in the operational level, you can define as well in this kind of process integration to have accessibility part of definition of done. So every software cycle that you are shipping, you have to define as well that it meets the accessibility criteria. For that, of course, you can invest in a design system. And if your design system, each component, if each block is compliant, of course, you will save a lot of time. In terms of training, we talked about it. You need to get a task force. You need also to do regular testing. So this can be automated, manual. Of course, the best thing is to have real users to get feedback, because this will be the compass and it will tell you if you are going in the right direction or not. Are you really meeting your user needs? Is something missing? It's crucial to have this customer feedback.
Exactly.
And yeah, we've been mentioning about the fast track. So there is no time to lose. So we need to get into it. And for that, Piotr was mentioning you need to do a rapid audit. So that's the first thing to do. Just go now. You can do it internally, get some experts like Ailleron, and get someone who kind of evaluates your software from journey, like end to end, each flow, and see how you score in terms of accessibility. And from there, you can prioritize fixes, because this could be like the spotlight. So it could bring some light to see, okay, what is the most important thing you need to fix? Would you like to mention something about the tools?
Yes, we are going to jump into. I can hear you, Daniel. Okay, but I would like to also jump very shortly and very briefly to audit and ask also Piotr, what's your experiences here with this audit? To at the beginning, it is important to audit whole the solution or the specific parts of the solution. What's your experience?
I would say I would strongly recommend you can run the audit on the digital mockups. So, for example, if your designer is using some tools to prototype the solution, you can already run the audit on the mockup level, because this is the cheapest place and phase. They can potentially fix the accessibility issue. And I'm not talking about the color contrast, because I'm guessing majority of us take care about it, but a little bit a more advanced description how to implement accessibility, because accessibility in the natural is how well you build your digital product. If you have a lot of digital issues, perhaps your team need to be a little bit trained how to deliver the accessible and well-built solution. And I really love the rapid audit, because still there is a quick way to collect the information for the product team. What is the issue? How we can solve it and fix it in order to ensure that the system is accessible. And with the European Accessibility Act is also to be said, it's not that somebody came to say, oh guys, you don't have the alternative text for the one picture. No, it will be, guys, I'm not able to create the saving account, because the form that you just sent me, it has not accessible buttons or links. So we need in this fast track accessibility plan, we should focus on the basics like the keyboard navigation. And to be honest, all of us can test the keyboard navigation. Just, throw out your mice and start to use the keyboard only. See if you're able to see the focus, see if the logical keyboard is more or less has some sense for the user. Because once like the older person, and we usually think about the disabled people or people with disability, but imagine your grandfather just using your bank account only using the keyboard. This is also accessibility to how you manage that. For example, how your solution is adapting for the responsiveness. Based on the study in the Dutch, approximately 24% of the population, Dutch population, they changing the font to larger one. So every browser have this magic feature that you can change the font in your browser on your mobile. And you're expecting that you're still able to read the content. And this is something that you can, first of all, mitigate a risk. So you can address a fast track accessibility issues. After 28 June, it's not the end of the story. I would say this is just beginning, because more or less the companies started to accessibility journey. But this will be very long and extensive journey from the teams, because as Daniel mentioned, it's not like you fix accessibility and you forgot. It's like the accessible garden. You need to take care of that on the every day to ensure that your plants will be beautiful and everyone can enjoy this perspective.
Yes, so thank you for this comment, because what you mentioned, it's crucial thing that after this 28th June, we need to right now, if you got audit or we got, some kind of introduction to that plan, to try to fix very carefully and very briefly, and also after this date. So generally, we need to plan long-term plan. Of course, short plan is important. How we can do it correctly and very properly till this end, but generally it's important long-term plan. So thank you for this comment. It is very, very important. And you mentioned that about tools, and I would like to go to tools and testings and jump to this topic, because also it is very huge area of that. And what I would like to say that, Piotr, I like so much one of your last posts in LinkedIn about screen readers, that one of the myths is that for checking accessibility, screen reader is enough. And it is very easy to use these screen readers. Of course, there are a lot of different things what we need to check to go through the accessibility. We've got few accessibility screen readers, of course, on the market for mobiles, for desktop, and also what you mentioned. I also recommend to try such screen reader on your mobile phone or on the desktop, and generally feel this experience, how it looks like, how it works, what kind of challenges is with such screen reader. It is extremely, extremely important. So as you see, we've got different screen readers. Of course, most of them are free to use it. The first one is paid, but in general, really, everyone who are here on this webinar, if you are involved, for example, with the accessibility team or not, please try it. Please check your settings on your mobile. If you got iPhone, look voice over, for example, and check it on Android TalkBack and see how the process and how experience is with screen readers. Of course, I've got, as you probably see and check on the market, there are a lot of automating tools on the market to check the accessibility for desktop, for mobile, a lot. Of course, during our meeting with Piotr a few months ago, also Piotr showed us how many plugins we can check in accessibility. But I would like to ask Piotr, for example, for you, because as I mentioned, we've got a lot of tools, a lot of plugins. From your perspective, from your great experience, what is the most important? What's your favorite?
Yeah, so I would say what I really love, I would say the ND. So I just share with all of you the name of this tool. So this is a official trusted tester by the Homeland Security tool, which is recommended for running the accessibility audit. I would say the semi-automated, so you don't, you will receive some feedback immediately after you launch it, but you can also test it. So I would say that one. I really love also the Axa Dev tools, which is based on the Xcore. I would say this one of the most popular engine for the testing the accessibility in the automated way, because as Daniel mentioned, you need to have a process. You need to, for example, for my customers, I usually recommend to the developers in the process of the building the digital solution, they should integrate the automated tools to receive the response. If they doing this right immediately, they shouldn't wait like for the fast track accessibility audit. They should immediately receive the answer from, okay, it's okaysh or it's not okaysh. We still need to remember that automated tools do not cover 100%. They cover approximately from 25 to 35%. But still, there's a 25-30% of the accessibility criteria that you can measure. You can put the KPIs on that. So I would say the Andy is the top favorite tool, if I would say. Axa Dev tool, let's say the second favorite tool when I'm verifying. Of course, there's like, for example, I will also give you the headings map. So there's a tool which you can very quickly collect the heading structure on the website. Of course, there's a different tools because there is a different, I would say, ecosystem. Sometimes for the web view, you need to use the different tools to verify the accessibility, and so on and so on.
Great. Thank you so much for your answer. As you mentioned, a lot of them, but automating tools is not enough, what you mentioned, and also screen reader is not enough, because testing is crucial and very complex, because we need to focus on many things if we want to check and give a great experience, what you mentioned. So keyboard testing, color contrast analyzer, visual testing, font scaling. It is crucial to take into the consideration such security, gestures, so contact options to enhance different type of contacts, not only, for example, WhatsApp, but if it's possible, of course, to provide just a number to call. So a lot of things what is here, that if you want to check very properly and very correctly, so we need to focus a lot of stuff. So Daniel, could you also share from your experience about testing, how it looks like, for example, in George?
Yeah, for sure. We are very proud to say that we have 2 visually impaired testers as part of the team. So they are, I hope my connection is fine. I hope you can hear me well. Yeah, so we have two visual impaired testers. They are constantly checking the application by themselves. And it's really nice to talk to them and to see that they are living really, like, their lives are, they are going for the full potential, right? So we are the ones limited. When you experience seeing someone using your product without seeing, it's really incredible, right? With voice commands, the shortcuts they use, it's really eye-opening. So I would highly recommend, when you are testing, invite people who are suffering from certain disabilities. If you are a designer as well, like Piotr was mentioning, you can already test, and you can do that even on Figma. You can already use certain plugins like Stark, and with that you can already emulate certain visual impairments like color blindness, um, and then you can see, okay, is my text readable? Is the font size okay or not? How will this look in dark mode, right? How will this look if I go out and the sun is shining and reflecting on my device, right? So also you need to think about different conditions, like the weather is also one of them. And don't forget that there are also many different barriers. It's not just the physical one. You also have cognitive issues, even having a complex language, like all the financial jargon. It's a barrier for certain users. It's a barrier for me. Certain things I don't understand. If you want to make that your target, your users start investing, for example, you want to offer investing to all of your users, no matter their physical or cognitive abilities. It's an incredible challenge to also work on the language, work only also on the way you are talking to the users. Because if as a person with a visual impairment is using a reader, they will read your text, of course, right? So they will read how you talk to them, and you need to talk. So we need to learn to talk in a more humane way, like people. So we need to put aside all these old legacy, super serious banking language, and we need to replace it with a more accessible one.
Exactly. The best example is, for example, for the messaging in the field. So the field is mandatory. Instead of that, we can just, explain. So please add your email address, for example, not to, such general message with this field, but very specific message for users, which is very straightforward and easy to understand for anyone. Okay, thank you so much for this comment, and also what you mentioned, that usability testing also is a very crucial part of such testing. Not only new functionalities, not modules, whole application. So could you, Piotr, share with us few tips how to do it right, how to do it correctly? So usability testing, not only manual using of our Q&A and automating testing, but also usability testing, how it should look like,
Yeah,
compared to how often?
Yeah, how often? Every day, I would say.
Every day, exactly.
If you have a budget, it would be lovely to have it every day. But I would say what Daniel mentioned, please invite the people people with the disability, the older people and other people, to just give a feedback about your solution. I would say the what is crucial in the testing, it's to collect as soon as possible. For example, I really love to run the usability testing with the blind people on the mockups. So if you already have your mockup on the paper or in some more advanced, sophisticated tool, you can already run, I would call it this, like the concierge testing with the blind people. So you can collect the information about the structure, how the heading should look like. So as earlier you tested, it will be cost you less to correct that further, because everyone know how to verify it quicker. So test with the real users. And I would say the bank sectors, I think you're doing the usability testing, but the question is, how often do you invite the people that do not match your criteria? This is essentially, like, for example, if you're running the test for the kids, how often do you invite the blind kid? Because hello, the blind kid also has a money. They want to spend on the sweets. They want to buy something for the parents and so on. This is essentially to, I would say, if I say in the testing, what is crucial in the testing is to change the mindset, because sometimes people are fear, I cannot speak with the blind person, or I cannot speak with the deaf person. Don't worry, just go to if you see in every big city, in even a small city, currently I'm living in a very small city, there is also the center for the blind, deaf people that you can come and you can just ask, guys, what do you think about that? And this is, I would say, the beautiful. So the changing the mindset to collect this feedback from the users, and you shouldn't be a fear about that you do something wrongly. They will tell you. There are the same human beings as we, because I can recommend some really nice tools, etc. I think what is the most important in accessibility, don't treat this as the one row in the Excel file that you need to or check with just them, because usually people just asking, okay, how many percentage are we met? So 50 or 80% is a fine. Do we receive the certification? And I would tell you a story. A few weeks ago, we ran a really big audit for I would say, one of the biggest company in Poland. And 2 days later, after this accessibility audit, which is quite hawkish, the development team released a new functionality. And this functionality prevent people to use this application at all. At all, completely. The blind people, the people using the assistive technology cannot use at all this application. And they can say, oh, we're having the certification. But if we keep forgetting about the building the accessibility on the daily basis, it will cost more and more. And nowadays you can lose your reputation, because nowadays you can just open your phone and you say, oh, this company don't care about us because I'm not able to use your product. And today your competitors can use this and say, came to us, we don't have a problem with you. So I would say this will be my takeaways for you guys to don't be scary. It will take a time. It will cost something, but this is not the huge cost. Really, if you're running the usability testing, if you're having your UX team, it will be maybe 1, 2, or 3% your budget. But maybe there will be less one pizza day in your office that you can just invest in the accessibility.
Great. Thank you so much, Piotr. It was great summary, because I'm watching the time that we need to go to the end, because we would like also give a time for our attendees for question. But as you mentioned, sum up what kind of tips for you, the mindset. So generally, don't be afraid about that. We need to do it, and generally we need to from we need to and we have to, we want to, because we are designing for everyone. We are designing for human. We've got everyone wants to have a great experience with digital things. So the mindset is the very, very important in that. Daniel, from your perspective, you want to add something more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you guys. It's all about building bridges. It's not just a compliance issue. It's also about compassion, right? About empathy. learning about other people, learning about yourself, that all of us, we have certain barriers, certain limitations, and it's very nice to do good, right? To do better. And because of course this is good for business, but it's also good for us as designers, as developers, that we know that we are changing lives for the better. So we are contributing in something that is great for everyone. And also, like I always like to say, it will also be good for us, because every time we are getting older, we will need more of these assistants. So this assistant technology, when we are designing this, we are also designing it for ourselves.
Thank you so much for this interesting conversation. As I mentioned, I see that we've got 10 minutes more, and I would like to give the space for our attendees to ask questions to our great speakers. So take your time, and if you want to ask something, please add via comments. It should work, because we saw that you added some kind of comments at the beginning. We've got a question, Maciej. Is there any minimum scope for 28th June? What have to be implemented?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, you need to have built some accessibility strategy, some DNA for your company. And I don't know from which market are you coming, but I used to minimize the success criteria for the businesses that just started to implement accessibility. Just ensure to mitigate the risk, as I mentioned in the beginning, to not being accessible on the 28th of June either, or except if you have a different way to do exactly the same action or the different action, that the output would be the same context. So for example, if you're not able to create your digital account using the website, maybe this digital channel works on the mobile. If not, maybe there is some offline office that you can do the same. So this prevent you for receiving a fine and give you a little bit more time to adhere the perspective. But definitely, if you hire the right consulting team, they can definitely help you to define the scope of the minimum effort that you need to run till the 82 June. So I would not give you the exactly same, but for example, 1.3.1, there's one of the success criteria from the WCAG, which is a mandate. I would say this is something that you should start, because it's essential. It's like the fundamentals of the building the digital accessibility for your product. So if you're looking for something, I would just say 1.3 WCAG, this information. This is something that you should at least start. Yeah, so this is what I would recommend to start on it.
Okay, so thank you so much. Other question, can you name one tool that might help testing the content and might give some explanation solution? For example, this button is not accessible because its label is general. This form is not accessible because the required message is very generic.
Do you mean like in UX writing, or in which sense? This would be interesting to know. From HTML perspective, if you build your components in React, for example, and then you go into this semantic approach with a clear structure, what is the header, what is the content, what is the footer, this helps a lot with the accessibility part. Also creating the area label. If something is not super descriptive, let's say for someone visually impaired, that they need a description of what's happening, you need an area label. And you need tools that are testing if this form has an area label or not, if it passed the accessibility.
I would say also in terms of the testing that situation, it's really good to define the strategy with your automation team, because majority of the companies that I work with, they having some automated teams, so you can define some level what it will be good enough from your perspective, because you need again define the strategy, how the description of the button will meet your requirement from your company, plus also some rules from related to the B2 level of the language, etc. So there is a possibility to define this. This, I would say, the matter of the semantics. As Daniel mentioned, yes, I would say majority of the testing tools are able to verify if the button have some meaningful context, but majority of the automated tools on the shelf, they don't tell you, oh, this text on this button is not good enough. This is something that you need to define internally for your team, for your system. The same with the alternative text. For example, I'm usually meeting with the clients, they're saying, oh, we don't know what to put this, because they don't have a strategy. You cannot apply the accessibility. I would say, maybe I would just rephrase my question. If you invite the some company, it's not like this company give you the accessibility audit and bye-bye. This is not totally how it. You should make a partner which help you with the accessibility journey. Because if you hire the people to just run the accessibility audit and they gone, this is not something that I would recommend to spend money, because you will receive the accessibility audit. Maybe you will understand it, maybe you don't understand it, and what will be next plan? So you need to find a partner in this accessibility journey to translate this technicality in some strategy and define that in the system. Like, for example, majority of the banks, they having the call center. Call centers should be also trained with the accessibility. I recently called to my bank to say, oh, hello guys, my mom is blind. How you can help with that? I say, we don't know. You should help her. I say, no. My mom is 65, so she can do the things they alone. Why should I help? This entire journey. So you need to understand this. You need to change the perspective for building this, and build a strategy to become the champion in the accessibility and inclusivity.
Okay, thank you so much. I see that we've got 2 minutes left. So one more question. What do you have any conference that you recommend about accessibility? So maybe also I answer, and this is the one of the last slides. So generally, as I mentioned at the beginning of the Ailleron Innovation Forum, also we discuss such topics with Piotr, with Daniel. It is crucial to remember that we also talk about these topics. So this is one of these conference, and I would like to say that we will answer during our sending the summary about others conferences, because right now I would like to ask what I mentioned at the beginning, my last question for you, and please remember that who will be the fastest one with the answer via chat. So receive such beautiful blouse of our company. So please be ready for my question. How many days till 28th June 2025? Who will be the fastest one? Okay, I got it. Agnieszka, you are the first one, the fastest, of course. 102 days till this magic date. Thank you so much for that. Of course, we will contact with Agnieszka about how to deliver these blues. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for my guests. Thank you for your question. I hope that you enjoyed this webinar. As I mentioned, we will send you the summary of that. And thank you, and have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.